Year's 1937. The Great War came to an end several decades ago. The worst has slowly been rebuilding, and society has worked to move on from great horrors and great violence towards one another. In that time, history has become a fractured glass. Histories have risen up and made themselves known to those willing to look into them. The history of the loss of the Sisterhood of the Knot and the Princes. The history of the Great Serpent having not been kept in check. This history, however, has a possible darkness to it. One that looms over the head of every individual capable of entering the Mansis, as those who truly know what lies behind and underneath the words written in esoteric texts has begun to feel a shaking from deep within, something that makes even the glory above dim.
Saul?
Yeah?
Is your phone near your microphone?
No.
Okay. Is anyone else hearing the slight popping and fuzzy stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Like he has a very tiny helicopter in the background.
Do you have any magnets, any electrical stuff other than your microphone next to your microphone or its cables?
I have moved things around some more. How's that?
Good.
Much more better.
Okay. As such, there have been a number of people who have begun to work to try to find out what exactly is going on, what they can do to prevent or perhaps capitalize off of this new change within the Mansis, within its walls. But as anyone who is well-read knows, the Mansis has no walls. At the moment, it is the early evening, late afternoon, of a brisk and rather muggy Tuesday. At the moment, it is June 28th, 1937. This particular charter boat has been utilized by those wishing to make their way to Brancrug for several years. Ever since the finding again of the lost Hush House, it has been utilized solely by those within the know and those who have the right connections. As for what could be bringing you all here, well, that is entirely personal. I would like Legacy, Loretta. Please tell me what you are doing currently on this rather large but somewhat beat down old tub that was the only way for you to get to Brancrug when so many other shipwrights, so many other sailors and captains do not know of the island or say it is cursed.
Loretta would be deep in one of the various books that she's brought along with her. If there is a way for her to be seated, she would be sitting, legs crossed, very proper in her stature. She looks bored. like there are 1,000,004 things that she would rather be doing at this moment. But she's here. And she's trying to keep in mind the bigger picture. The part of her that is aware as to what her mission is going into whatever this may be, these cursed lands, these forgotten lands. Eventually she is going to put down the book and kind of watch for like either a sailor or maybe even the captain of the ship, of this boat.
From your seat on one of the little, not necessarily comfortable benches on the tub, you see that there are a few sailors meandering about, but there's also the captain who, at the moment, seems to be checking in on those who have booked charter. When he makes his way to you, he stands with a shocking regality for someone who looks as beaten by the world as he does.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Just checking in on everyone. I do hope that the waves have not been unkind to you.
Oh, well, it could be worse, but I'm more resilient than some. I just had...
Of course.
Based on maybe the coordinates that you have and the tide that rolls in and rolls out, how long do you think before we land?
I don't imagine it would be longer than perhaps, and he just pulls out a rather expensive looking pocket watch that also looks a little bit older. Mm-hmm. Like it's been well kept and is very expensive, but has seen a lot of use.
Yeah.
And he just flips it open. I do think we should be there by about supper time. So within about an hour or so. And then he will close it and put it back into his breast pocket.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Not that I haven't enjoyed my time on this, on the ship, but I'm sure that you get it. Lady like me, I can only hold on for so long before I lose my lunch.
Of course. I will let you get back to your book, madam. I still need to check on the others who have joined us for this voyage.
Righto. Thank you, sir.
And he just gives a small bow and will begin walking along, where he will then come across a individual who might possibly be enjoying a cigarette. Frederick, please describe what the Admiral will see as he approaches you.
Frederick has long since into this afternoon taken off his outer jacket and his tie because it's just too stuffy and awful. And he is having a smoke, leaning off the railing of the ship and looking out at the ocean. He's got this graying hair and thin figure, and he kind of looks like if the ship got hit by a wave at the wrong angle, he would die immediately. He is probably too entranced by the ocean and by his smoke to notice the captain approaching him.
Is everything all right, sir?
Everything is as all right as it was ever going to be on board. Just waiting, I guess. Waiting is killing me, but I'm waiting.
Not one to focus on patience, sir.
I have a hard time out at sea, I think. I have a harder time when I can't do anything with my hands, but smoke, of course.
Of course, sir. I can sympathize. I much prefer the firmness of the ground. The sea, it can be a hungry one.
Frederick finally glances out from the sea at the captain and sort of considers the statement and rolls it around in his head. The sea can be a hungry one. I suppose. Is that... And he starts to ask a question about that, but he thinks better of it, and he pauses again and says, "Was there anything else you needed, Captain?"
Just wish to check in and to let you know that we should be docking within the hour.
Wonderful. Heard nice things about Brancrug. I'm excited.
It is a quiet little place, but one that I hold quite dear in these current years.
Perfect. Frederick probably reaches the end of his cigarette by a right amount now, and he just flicks it into the ocean.
You see there's a very slight twinge of a smirk that comes from seeing the flame go into the sea. And then the captain just bows and will turn and meander away as well. And he will walk over to a rather interesting figure to see on a tub like this. Sister Rosalie, please describe what the captain would see walking up to you.
She's wearing her usual nun outfit. I don't particularly know what it's called, but she is
Habit.
wearing, what was it?
The
Habit.
Yes, she's wearing her habit. She's mainly just reading the Bible and clutching her a cross in her other hand as well. She's trying to bear the waves of the sea.
Is it a normal Bible, or is it a King James Bible, or is it perhaps a Bible associated with other entities?
It would probably be a little bit of a mix, and it's probably King James, but there's also just her own personal notes of some of the more esoteric stuff that she's knowledgeable about.
Understood. Good sister. And as you would look at the captain, he actually does have a cross on his chest. He looks softly at you. I do hope that the waves have not been cruel to you.
It's always a bit rough, but I'm doing my best.
Of course. If you have need of anything, if any of the sailors were to accost you, please let me know and I will deal with them myself.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. Is there anything I can get for you? Perhaps a quieter space for your readings or your prayers. We should be arriving within the hour, but that hour is yours to do with as you please.
Oh no, here should be just fine. Thank you.
Of course. Again, if you need absolutely anything, please find me.
I will.
And he will give you a small bow and we'll head over to our last individual who is on this particular tub. Roderick, what does the captain see?
Roderick would be by the railing of the tub, kind of just notebook in hand, doing an idle sketch of the mediocre skill of the horizon.
You have skill with the sketching, sir.
For an audience of one, yeah. I try and practice, but I won't be doing it as a profession anytime soon.
Everyone has their hobbies. I personally like to forge, but that is less easy to do on a tub like this.
I can imagine flames that hot and boats don't mix very well.
Not in the ways that we'd want. So what would bring you to Brancrug? And then you just hear, "Overboard! Someone overboard!" And he just turns immediately to where the sound is coming from.
And Roderick will look in the same direction as well.
And he makes his way over there, and you don't see anyone like splashing in the water near the tub, but you see that there seems to be wooden wreckage, metal wreckage as well, floating along the tops of the waves. And there seems to be someone that is currently laid flat on part of the wreckage.
And Roderick will look to see if there's something like a, not raft, the lifesaver circles.
There are a few life preservers nearby, yes.
And he'll, just trying to be helpful, we'll go reach for one to see if it's going to be needed in order to get the person aboard.
A few of the sailors are quick to jump into the water to begin heading over to where the wreckage is and where the person is. And you see that the captain is just gripping the railing tightly. Give me a roll of intelligence, please.
Already? That is a success.
Excellent. With that success, you are looking out at the sea, and you're looking at this person that the sailors are getting to and working to begin bringing back towards the tub. But then you hear the slight sound of wood cracking and metal bar denting and rending as you look down, and you can see that the captain's hands are beginning to indent the railing with a strength that seems far beyond what his older frame should be able to handle.
Does the captain seem to be straining, or does it seem to be like an absent-minded exertion?
It does not look like he is actually trying to do this. It looks like it is almost accidental.
And there'll be a moment where he just sort of pauses, taking that in before he clears his throat and says, Captain, is there anything we need to do that can help the sailors back aboard with, well, if they're unconscious, I imagine it's not going to be easy.
I will see the sailors back aboard. Could you please go through the other guests and see if anyone is knowledgeable of medicine or other medical practices? In case they have swallowed water, we need to work to ensure that they survive this.
If not, I have some skill with it myself, but I'll see who I can find.
Good. Please, go.
And he's going to make haste, mostly out of concern for the other person, but also because he's more than a little bit uncomfortable at having seen that and not knowing how to take it immediately.
Fair enough. So eventually the sailors are brought all back on board with help from their fellows and from the captain himself, who hefts the person up, and it is a young woman, fairly small and slight and soaked through from the ocean waves. There is a space cleared for them to be able to lay her down on the hull. And anyone who would like to assist in resuscitating them, I would please like a medicine check.
I will like to do that. Our goal is to roll under, right?
That is correct.
All right.
I will be rolling as well to assist.
All right.
No medicine.
I think Freddie is largely unfazed by this. He's a little shocked, but he's certainly not trying to help with his 0 in medicine. But I do think he's going to light up another cigarette.
Fair enough. Vironz, is that a success for you for your medicine roll?
No, very annoyingly, that is that's 2 above.
Understood. Thankfully, because of Roderick's role in assisting you, they gave you this system's version of advantage, which gives you a +10 to your skill. So that would actually become a success because of Roderick's assistance.
Well, then, yes, it is a success.
Fantastic. You, Sister Rosalie, moves quickly to just begin working to gently work the water that could be in her lungs out and to make sure that she is breathing. It takes a little bit of effort, but with some assistance from Roderick to make sure everyone stays back and gives you plenty of room to work, you're able to get her coughing up water. Helena, you are coming back to the world of the conscious, of the living, after what seemed to be a rogue wave, a rogue storm, just barreled through your ship, the ship you were taking to get to Europe, to get away from the life you left behind. And you can taste the salt water on your tongue as it is coming out of your lungs to splash across the hull of an unfamiliar vessel. And you find yourself, as your eyes slowly open, surrounded by strangers.
Where am I?
Easy, girl. Easy. You're, well, safer than you were. You're on a ship bound for Brancrug at the moment.
No, that can't be right. What happened?
It seems that whatever vessel you were on met with a ill fate, and he just looks out across the water to more wreckage, more bags and baubles just littering the ocean itself.
Oh. Where is everyone else?
Unfortunately, ma'am, we saw no one else. It seems you may have the foul luck of being the only survivor.
Oh, no. No. It can't be right. That can't be right. She's panicking. Gone quite pale. Probably about to pass out again.
Give me a roll of determination, please.
Oh, okay.
I don't imagine that's a success.
No. Her determination is 20.
Ah. Then, unfortunately, as this revelation racks through your mind, and you are trying to come to grips with what happened, it almost happened in a flash. Everything was fine. You were enjoying dinner with your fellows, and then everything was thrown about. The ship it was almost as if it was picked up by a greater force and just plunged in half into the ocean.
Oof.
But you do remember one thing as consciousness begins to leave you again. You remember the sound of what could have been a heartbeat, or it could have been drums calling to you. And then you have fainted again. The captain winces and moves to very gingerly pick the woman up. I'll see that she is given a warm room and fresh clothes. I ask that everyone please go back to their business. Sister, would you be willing to assist me in making sure that there's nothing else wrong with her?
Yes, I can give her a once over.
Thank you. And then you just hear Sailor say, Captain Wellen, what else are we supposed to? And he just looks to the sailor very slowly but very sternly. And the sailor quiets down and moves to go back to his business as he turns back. Hopefully, whatever foulness befell her in the waves stays within the waves. And as the captain moves past everyone, he looks to Frederick again, almost as if a told you so sort of look.
The sea is hungry indeed.
Sister Rosalie, please give me another medicine check, if you would, please.
All right. $27.
Excellent. You're looking over this woman that you've all brought upon your boat. And other than the fact that she was soaked and has been obviously in shock of everything that happened, miraculously, she's physically perfectly fine. There are no bruises, no cuts, nothing. It was as if everything happened around her and she just got caught in the eye of the storm perfectly and stayed in it as her ship was destroyed.
I'm going to make sure to turn her on her side, just in case she needs to cough up more water or anything else.
Understood. She is given warmer clothes, and it is left to you to ensure that when she comes to, she's able to switch out of them and work to dry off some.
Mm-hmm.
Helena, you come to about 5 minutes later. And you are once again in a new place. There's still the gentle rocking of the boat, but you are not out in the hull surrounded by so many strangers, just the nun you saw before.
Have I died?
No, dear. You're just on our boat now. Here, let's get you out of those wet clothes and get you into some warmer ones.
Oh, all right. There was the storm. There was a
Yeah, there was a storm.
yes. We were all having dinner. Everything was fine, and then it wasn't. Then I was here. Sorry, my head hurts.
It's all right.
She's going to very clumsily attempt to start changing. She has a lot of hair. A lot. It goes down past her hips. And the I don't know how close you'd be paying attention, but she does have a rather interesting scar on the back of her neck. Rather circular.
She would. Dear, where did you get that scar?
I don't. I'd rather not talk about it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's okay.
My name is Helena. What is yours?
I'm Sister Rosalie.
Pleasure to meet you. Where are we going?
Brackenberg?
Brancrug.
Brancrug. Sorry.
Where is that?
Just off the coast.
Of where?
Of
Sorry.
Britain? Of Britain or France?
Britain.
Britain. It's just off the coast of Britain.
Oh. Right. Don't know what to do now.
God will be able to help guide you if you need.
Perhaps. Maybe someone will have heard of any of the others. Maybe.
Maybe.
Alright. Thank you for helping me.
Of course.
She'll just very awkwardly just change clothes and braid her hair so it's out of the way.
All right. Helena, you have been given enough time to where you're able to dry off fairly well to the point where you're not shivering anymore. The chill of the sea has left you, thankfully. Your head does throb, but the pain seems to fade, and you can almost hear the heartbeat or the drums fade slightly, but they're still there. Almost as if it's more in the back of your mind.
Not very pleasant. Have I heard it before?
Give me a roll. Do you have bright arts?
I do.
Please give me a roll of bright arts, and I will give you advantage. So this will be at +10 for you.
Okay. Oh,
Very well done.
9.
The rhythm is something old. You don't know how you understand, but you know that it is old. It is almost primal. But it is beautiful in a unique kind of simplicity. It's almost as if the rhythm is more of an undertone to how several productions perform their music nowadays. You think you've heard it back when there were plays of the story of Kronos eating his children, the plays of Carmen, and other grand scandals. It almost seems like it has always been there, especially when grander dances and grander movements have come all into play. It's almost like it's a connection between the play itself and the dancer, as opposed to just something the dancer has to move with.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose it doesn't sound like it's external at all.
No, not at this point. It sounds like it is, once again, more in the back of your head, but it's getting quieter and quieter as you come to grips with your situation more.
In that case, she is very much not going to mention it. She'll just fiddle with her ring and just sit there.
Fair enough. Time passes again, and you hear, "Land ho!"
Oh.
Helena, do you come out of your room?
Yes.
You come out and you see everyone getting their things together. There are a few people who seem to be ready to get off. You see the nun that looked over you. You see the other individual, the younger man who was keeping enough space for the nun to work when you were first brought on board. You see the individual in the suit, probably currently smoking another cigarette, and a very fashionable woman who you might remember. It is almost as if you've seen her more in passing at certain soirees.
Oh?
They all seem like they have been meaning to come to this place, that they've packed quite well for this village, this island you've never heard of. And yet, as the ship pulls closer, you feel a sense of contentment. Something feels right about you being here now. The ship is moored at the dock for Brancrug, and sailors begin immediately working to haul things off, shipments from London and other villages, shipments from coastal towns across Europe itself. And there is a gangway made for everyone else who is a passenger to leave. The captain himself moves closer to you, Helena, and smiles. Are you more collected, ma'am?
Yes. I'm sorry.
You need not apologize to me for what the sea has brought upon you. I would be happy to take you back to London if you wish, though I just ask for a bit of time that I get to spend with my wife, as I have not seen her in a number of months.
I of course I couldn't trouble you. Where should I go?
Well, The Sweet Bones is a nice little pub. They have a few spare rooms, warm, cheap, and the owner owes me a favor, so if you wish, I'm sure that he'd be willing to accommodate you.
I haven't anything, though.
And if you wish, that I would be willing to call in that favor. Just tell the owner that Captain Welland is a friend of yours. He will see you taken care of.
Are you sure?
I am only ever sure, ma'am.
Thank you. If there is anything I can do to repay the kindness, please let me know.
I will be sure to. Another option, though, and he looks over to the group that are getting their bags together. There are a number of people here who seem to have been interested in seeing a large establishment here. Perhaps the keeper of that place would be willing to set up a bed for you as well. I do think that the beds within the Hush House would be much more comfortable.
What I would not like to assume that they would want me to come with them, though.
Well, that is up to you. If you wish to speak to them, you may. If you wish to simply stay within the Sweet Bones, again, that is another option.
Thank you.
Of course. And if you need me, you can find me at the northernmost house within the village. There aren't a lot of houses, so it should be easy to find.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Of course. And he gives you a smile, and you get this intense warmth from him as he turns and begins to walk away and will move to the larger group. I apologize for the excitement earlier this evening. And I do thank you again. And he just nods to Roderick and Rosalie for your assistance with the matter.
And Roderick will nod and wave it off, and no problem. It's the least I could do.
The least you can do is the most that others would be willing to, I think. If you all have need of me, I will be at the northernmost cottage with my wife. I ask that you all have a safe meeting within the Hush House. I will warn, the librarian is a bit of an odd one, but he is a good person, deep down.
I think Freddie kind of smirks at that. Says, deep down, I'm sure.
If you wish, I could have some of the boys assist you with carrying off your luggage. I do believe the Hush House is currently going through a bit of a renovation. It will likely be open a little bit later in the evening, but the Sweet Bones is, of course, open to all of you.
Well, I didn't bring too much with me, so I think I can handle mine, but I appreciate the offer.
Of course. Miss Loretta, I know that you might have a few more books. If you wish, my boys can assist with carrying them.
That would be quite lovely, thank you. The crates are over there.
Yes. And he just looks over, and I assume there's a decent number of crates.
Yeah, there's like 6 giant crates.
Roderick will just mouth the word crates.
Of course. And he just whistles very sharply, and a number of men get to going, and a lot of them are quite large individuals who look like they are struggling. He moves over to one of the crates and just picks it up like it's literally weighs nothing. And he begins to move it himself with you.
Thank you. Not many people are willing to help move them, and well, she'll look down at her arms. I'm not the strongest woman out there, but greatly appreciate it.
Strength need not only be the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit. I'm sure that you have strength where it counts.
I'm sure I do.
And he just smiles. You remind me a bit of my wife. Quite feisty.
A lady this day and age needs to have a little bit of spice. Nobody lacks plain bread. And she'll take the bag that she has that has like a couple more books in it, and reaches in, grabs one, and kind of slides it like in between like the crook of his arm. If you're ever looking for a good read, I recommend this one.
And he just looks at it and just like one hand holding the crate that other people are having trouble taking on as a trio. He just looks at the book itself and says,
It's Moby Dick.
Wonderful.
Thank you again for making this journey as easy as it could be.
That is what I prefer to do. Not everything needs to be difficult. And he and the others are getting to move. Anyone who wishes to have assistance with their bags, they're able to find sailors who are willing to help. And they head off. The dock itself is actually down at the beach, and there's a large, almost stairway that goes up to the higher mesa where the village itself is, which the village itself is really quite small. There's at most maybe about 6 buildings entirely, but you look to the west and you can see that overlooking, just towering past this small village, is the grand, sprawling building that is the Hush House. And it seems to almost give off this wave, this throbbing power of knowledge and what truly is. It is possibly one of the larger buildings that some of you have ever seen, with tall towers that are at certain spots. One of them is definitely a bell tower, and the other seems to have a large open observatory. But at the moment, as you know, it is closed to you because there is a renovation currently going on.
I think Frederick is going to shoulder his rifle case on one shoulder, and he's got the his briefcase of personal effects in the other. And he is heading to the Sweet Bones. Is there anybody who's joining him?
It's a good question. Is anyone deciding to walk with Frederick to the Sweet Bones?
You don't have to be Frederick's buddy, just like, are you going there at the same time?
Is that a bar?
It is a pub.
I will abstain.
Oh, right. Your character is yeah, okay, that makes sense. That one follows.
Roderick will start going with him, although, is it we're not staying at the pub, like it's not a pub/inn, right?
Correct. There are beds at the pub, you've been told. However, you have been in contact with the librarian, and he has said that he will make sure that there are beds open to all of you who wish to stay within the halls of the Hush House.
Gotcha.
I think Loretta will go, but she's gonna kind of like trail behind them, taking a really, really good look at everything around her. She wants to get kind of like a lay for the land, and kind of compare it to maybe like she's got crates and crates and crates of books. Would she happen to have one on like any of like the history of this place? Anything that might give off like even like if it's just like stories?
I definitely think that with the number of books that you've collected and your research into this place before deciding to come here, you would know that the general history of this place, about how it is a place that seems to almost be central, like focal, where the histories converge and splinter apart. That this is a place that, while many people here are just normal people who don't really understand the intricacies of the world beyond, there is still great power here. That there are so many things that converge here. Even the Suppression Bureau, you've heard, makes use of the Hush House because it is so strong, and it is so integrated into that society that it is a neutral ground that the librarian enforces himself.
Okay.
The village itself, is very small. There's the cottage of the captain and his wife. There are a few smaller houses like around that his house and the pub itself where the sailors live. There's the Grand Rectory, which is opulent for a village of this size, but still rather homely.
Mm-hmm.
A small smithy, where you've heard that a forger and the good captain work together to make what needs to be made for this place. There's the post office, which is right beside the Sweet Bones, and then there's the Sweet Bones itself.
Yeah, but I think with that, Loretta's gonna probably start walking towards the Sweet Bones, but she's a little bit distracted. She's very interested in kind of like, first of all, kind of like she's probably heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but where she's coming from, she's probably heard that this land's kind of got some like interesting stuff buried within it. So she's gonna be kind of keeping an eye out for any of that interesting stuff for her friends that sponsored her trip here.
Of course. Yes, there have been a great number of things that have been pulled from these lands, either that have washed up on the shore or have been found by those who wander through the moors and the forests that dot this island. There have been, and of course, there have been people who say that if you get into the Hush House, there are things one might find within the depths of that place. As you've heard from your sponsors, that there is even a rather expansive subterranean area that has a lot of secrets hidden within it, even beyond what is open to to your particular public.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much what she's doing the entire time.
Understood. I assume that Sister Rosalie is going to be going to the rectory.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And what is Miss Helena doing?
Well, she was probably staring at the big old house for a bit there. She might sort of toddle a few paces behind our sister Rosalie. just the one person she's familiar with at the moment.
Fair enough. So headed off to the rectory as well.
Yep, she doesn't know why. She just feels safer.
Fair enough.
Until she's told to scram.
We will begin with the group headed to the Sweet Bones. Frederick, Roderick, and Loretta. You head into the Sweet Bones itself, and it is small, kind of cramped almost, but warm and inviting in a very, very small village, small town kind of way. There are already a number of sailors who are enjoying beer, ale, mead, a rather large swath of choices of cheap alcohol. And it seems that the plate offered for dinner currently is crumbly cheese within a nettle wrapping and good black rye bread. Cheap, filling, but it seems that people actually seem to enjoy it.
Kind of a little bit unrelated, just so I can figure out who's who. Roderick is the guy with the glasses or not?
Roderick is the gentleman who assisted in saving Helena.
Right. I'm asking about the character.
The one with the as for the art, that is the librarian.
Yeah, he's to the left of the librarian.
Oh, okay. And then Loretta is...
She's the one in the cute hat.
Yep, the one with the really cute hat.
Okay. All right. Roderick and Loretta. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course. The pub owner comes along, and he is a middle-aged man, a little bit portly, but very gentle and kind in how he looks at you all. Welcome to Sweet Bones. How can I assist all of you?
Do you have a coat check?
I mean, he just looks around and then looks back at you with a look of, are you serious?
I'm not dining with a rifle on my shoulder.
Ah, yes, I can handle that for you, sir. And he will move to take the rifle bag from you.
All right. Frederick relinquishes the rifle bag. He can probably keep his briefcase on his person for right now, though.
Anything I need to check for you, ma'am or sir? As he looks to Loretta and Roderick.
Where are the 6 crates of books?
The sailors have worked to sort of like pile them outside of the entryway, like in a little area where there would normally be like horses like kept tied up. But since it seems that no one is currently using their horse at the moment, they're just kind of sort of like under an awning.
I think I'm all set, darling. Thank you, though.
Of course.
I'm fine, thanks. Is it pick our own seats or?
By all
you got a
means,
preference?
everyone is able to sit where they please. You can take up a seat at the bar. You can take up one of the tables. We are all very easygoing here.
All right, and I'll just kind of look for small table with Well, if the others decide to join him at the table, enough for 3, at the very least.
I think Frederick's going to tag along here. And as he sits down, he's going to make some comment to the effect of, I'd much rather dine with you. I don't think the local Brits care for Americans.
And at that, Roderick will look around just to see if he's getting any stink eye from the locals.
Not an intense stink eye, but there are a few glances at you, especially from the sailors who spent a decent bit of time with you. Most of them are very proudly born British individuals, either from London or other parts of Wales or this village itself.
And he'll just shrug a little bit and say, they seem nice enough. At least no one's looking like they want me to get out immediately.
Well, of course, you're in good company.
Loretta's getting different kinds of looks.
Listen, name's Roderick, by the way.
Freddie extends a hand, and with a little smirk, he says, Freddie.
And he'll shake it.
And you, ma'am?
Loretta.
Loretta, the one and only.
Pleasure to meet the both of you. If you don't mind me asking, what brings two distinguished gentlemen like you to this island?
Freddie glances at Roderick in kind of a, do I say it first or do I wait for him to say it way?
And Roderick will just smirk a little and he'll just say, the Hush House, actually. Hoping to see what the library has.
Oh. I came, surprisingly, to paint. It's been a little while since I've had some peace and quiet and some nice landscapes to paint, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing here. I'm sorry, the Hush House, what all is that?
That's the building I'm going to be staying at.
You too.
And he'll look between both of them just to see if the two of them or if both of them are also staying there.
I also have great interest in the library. I'm a bit of a collector, if you couldn't tell.
The crates.
The crates, yeah. Filled with books and books and books about any topic you could ever think of. Including some picture books for the kiddos that might be lurking around this island.
Are you planning on adding them to the library or adding to your collection from the library?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I just, I'm an archaeologist by trade. Historical rather than practical. So while I don't do the digging, I do some of the reading, and sometimes even try to decipher a thing or two if I'm feeling risky.
Dangerous. I'm a librarian by trade. I thought this place was just sorry.
Veteran by trade. Well,
Veteran.
Trade, profession, you know.
Well, I'm sure that this is going to be quite fruitful for many of us. I do hope that young woman is feeling all right, I would have stepped in, but I'm not a trained medical professional. I would probably have been less of a help, more of a hindrance, if you know what I mean.
Oh, she was probably always going to be fine. A girl of her weight and age. I mean, under those kinds of circumstances, she had good pallor. I think as long as she was rescued in time, and indeed she was always going to be okay.
Did either of you happen to notice the, let's call it a dent in the railing?
A dent in the railing?
Mm-hmm.
It's a battered old ship. I'm sure there were plenty of them.
Well, and his voice will get a little bit lower because he knows the captain's a local and some of the sailors are here, and he'll just kind of cross his arms in front of him as he leans forward. When the call came out about somebody being overboard, the captain was looking at it rather intensely while the sailors set off, and he caused that dent. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody strong enough to do that as an afterthought. He didn't really seem to be exerting himself.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you gentlemen saw what he did with my crates. One arm. Only one arm. And those things are not light. In the slightest, actually.
Freddie furrows his brows and looks over to Loretta again and kind of does like an estimation in his head. In pounds, kilos, how much is one of those crates about?
Let me do some quick math. Each of my crates have about 30 books in them each, and a book weighs about, well, depending on how many pages, anywhere from maybe like a half pound to about a pound. So, in pounds, the crates themselves are 30, 40 pounds each. Sorry, I'm from America.
No worries, me too. Excuse me, I'm trying to make all these accommodations for the locals like I think I'm going to be able to blend in. Of course I won't, but, it's worth the attempt.
Sometimes you just gotta, if you can't blend in, and the moment that, like, any sailor, like, shoots her even, like, a quick look, all she's gonna do is just toss her hair and just give them a smile. You just gotta stand down the right ways.
Well,
That sailor is now blushing and looking back at his mead.
and Roderick will just say, I don't know if the policy of if you can't blend in, flirt is going to work with me when it comes to those sailors. But it's good advice.
Yeah. Hey, it doesn't have to be a flirt. You just gotta stand out in the best of ways. Mine just so happens to be my classic charm.
I have been told I have a face for radio.
I was one of the only men in my family to ever own a suit and have a reason to wear it, so that's why I stand out. That's why Mom said I stand out.
But-
So that's not your Sunday's best?
How do you mean?
Well, I don't know if you're the religious type, but from what I remember from when I was a child, don't many people wear their finest suits when they go to church? Or at least something akin to it.
No, that was not happening, not from my parents or my family.
Interesting.
And what landscapes on the island in particular drew you here to paint, or is it just the isolation of it that was appealing?
The deciduous trees, the cliff sides, the ocean, of course, as tacky and cliche as that is. And I was curious about the architecture of Hush House as well, a little bit. I mean, I think Freddy pauses at that, and he remembers to himself that he pretended not to know what Hush House was before.
And Roderick will lift his eyebrows. So you'll be staying there then, or just visiting it?
I suppose it depends on what the accommodations look like, doesn't it? It always depends on what the accommodations look like. I'll sleep in a lot of places, but I'm not sleeping in a hole in the ground. So as long as the renovations aren't too hideous and the place isn't too crumbling and ancient, I guess, I'm sure I can find a place to sleep in there. And I'm sure the librarian will do justice by me.
Captain did make it seem like he might be shrewd but fair, if I understood what the captain was implying.
Where all does the library get its funding from, anyways?
I'm not even sure it's that type of library. I think it might just be a collection of stuff from the people that have come and gone here.
Well, sure, but the librarian has to eat, don't they? I mean, they have to keep the lights on, that sort of thing.
Facilitator.
Yes.
Would I have any knowledge about what kind of library this is, or would I have been told, like, you know, go there with like a donation ready to give, something like that? That might be able to point me in the direction of like how these people manage to keep going.
You were not told to bring a particular donation, but you can give me an intelligence check to remember what you've been told and what you've researched about this place.
Cool. I will do just that.
Can I do the same?
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Freddy comes from a pretty dubious background, right? So he's probably thinking of this big structure that only has these very, particular clientele, and it probably costs more money than would ever rationally bring in. Is there any way I can make like I don't think it's called skullduggery. What is it? Is it like a lurking or something? Scoundrel, excuse me.
Yeah, I will allow a scoundrel check for this particular sort of thing.
I was going to say, can I like scoundrel check for how much money they're laundering?
Yeah.
On my intelligence check, I rolled a 4.
Ooh.
I failed.
Okay, so I got a 40 and my scoundrel is 80. My skullduggery. I'm just going to call it skullduggery. I think that's so much better.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Roderick, you're more used to older places that have far been abandoned or left to stories, like the Library of Alexandria. This current library, while you know about about the fact that it's here and that it has a whole lot of interesting information, the actual nature of it and how it stays open is a mystery to you.
Makes sense. He's probably more drawn by the contents rather than the operation of it.
Loretta.
Mm-hmm.
You know that this place has had a lot of connections to various organizations, including yours. While the connection to your organization here has been more of like a transactional one in terms of new tomes to be brought into the library, money itself has also occasionally been exchanged, whether it be the money of Britain, but also occasionally there's the use of the tally, which is the currency of those in the know. An esoteric currency that has power in and of itself beyond just what it can get you. and Frederick. It's likely that a lot of things done here are not exactly up to the extent of the law. But you don't think that this place is like known for criminal enterprises. Like, you know that the Suppression Bureau itself works here, so it's also very likely that they take a little bit of money or other such allowances from the Suppression Bureau amongst other places, including the organization that you associate with.
Oh, okay. So I would know that some of the prior contractors that I've worked with before would have done work here. Okay, interesting. All right, so that's my big connection.
Indeed.
So sorry, I need one moment, everybody. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm sure that it's all just one giant mystery now, isn't it?
Roderick will just shrug a little bit himself. Never really thought about it.
Sorry about that, everybody. I'm back.
Welcome back.
No worries. Welcome back. With that pondering mystery, we're going to shift our focus over to the rectory, where Sister Rosalie and Helena find themselves at the large mahogany doors that have a the door knocker, and the relief of it is in the shape of a sun.
I'll lift and use it for its intended purpose.
The sound of the metal hitting metal is intense, that almost sort of rattles through your arm itself. But even before you get to the third knock, the door is being unlocked and opened, and out steps an individual you know of. He has been your contact through the church you are associated with. You know that his name is Timothy. He is an ordained reverend within the Church of the Unconquered Sun. And he is disheveled with short black hair and bright, almost golden eyes looking at you. And he just looks a bit perplexed for a moment before he is all smiles. Ah, sister, good evening.
Brother Timothy, it's very lovely to see you.
And so fantastic to see you. I do hope that you got in all right. And he looks to Helena, and he looks perplexed again. And you've brought a guest.
Oh. I'm sorry.
She is a rescued soul from my trip.
Truly. The sea took again.
It attempted to.
I must apologize, my child. The sea around this place is fickle. The waters themselves seem to have a mind, not entirely of their own, but of a greater being. Please, come in. And he will step aside and let you into this place with large, grand reliefs and stained glass windows that show a lot of focus on sun imagery. There is the normal Catholic and Christian imagery of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but there is also a lot more focus on and like opulence given to images of the sun, including a smaller image of the sun in rags. is there anything I can get you? Tea or food? I don't have a lot here, but I can make do if you need it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to follow, but I thought it'd be safe here, wherever
It is
here
safe
was going
here.
to be. Thank you. I'm sorry.
There's no need to be sorry.
She'll turn to him and I'm fine, thank you. I'm sorry. My name is Helena. Helena MacLeod.
A pleasure to meet you, Miss MacLeod. I am Reverend Timothy.
A pleasure. Thank you. I hope I haven't interrupted anything. I can always leave.
Oh, no, you are as welcome here as our Lord.
Oh. All right. And she'll just look to Sister Rosalie.
Let's see. Brother Timothy, do you have any reading material for Miss Helena?
Yes, I believe I do. And he just shuffles off for a brief moment and closes a door behind him before he comes back almost like immediately as soon as the door closes. I do have a number of texts associated with our church, but I could understand that you probably don't wish to read through all of that after such an ordeal. Please take this. It is a gift to you. You can keep it as long as you wish. And he is extending a rather nicely bound book with a purple hardcover that is listed as being the first volume of the series Traveling at Night.
Oh, thank you very much. And she'll gingerly take it. I like reading books of all sorts.
Well, then you've, despite what has happened, you have ended up at the right place. The Hush House is perhaps the grandest library one could ever hope to be within spitting distance of. I'm sure that if you wish to continue reading, the librarian there would be more than happy to welcome you.
That would be lovely. What is this book about?
It is a rather interesting book. It begins to describe and sort of delve into esoteric subjects, various ideas of thought akin to what one might have found within the halls of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, but much less debauched, much more readable and understandable. I always found Christopher Alopoli, the author, to be one of the better authors of such texts.
Do I know what he's referring to?
You, with how you were raised, you probably know a little bit of it. You definitely would have heard the name Christopher Alopoli, given that he is, even with those outside of the know, very popular because of how well written he was. And how he approached things that are that could generally be seen as beyond mortal understanding and brings them down to a very manageable level for a wider audience.
Thank you very much. My grandmother would be interested in this as well.
Well, if you wish, you can take that to her as well. I have a few other copies that I can call on if need be.
Oh, she's in Salem. That's quite a bit away.
Oh, indeed. But as I said, it is a gift to you, so if you find yourself back there, you can feel free to share it with her.
Thank you very kindly.
Of course. Good sister, you had something you wish to discuss with me?
Well, I was just wondering if I would be continuing my services here as I was in London.
You are more than welcome to join me here within the rectory. But, and he looks out a window towards the Hush House. From what I've been told, the shrines and the larger institution of our church has been cleared out and refurbished by the librarian. So if you wished, I am certain that he would be happy to house you within the walls of the Hush House, so that way you could see that the proper rituals and the proper care is given to those halls. He specifically asked for you, sister.
Ah, okay. Well, I guess I should make my way over there as soon as possible then, shouldn't I?
I do think that that would be for the best. Again, you are always welcome here, but I do think it would be rather rude to keep the good librarian waiting.
Yes.
And as you say that, everyone in the village hears grand, large bells ringing out from the direction of the Hush House. And you, those within the rectory, sees Timothy smile and say, that is his sign that the Hush House is open again to the public. The bells have been rung, similar to a call to worship, but a call to those who the Hush House wishes to welcome. The noise itself even seems to resonate with Helena. Everyone who has come here seeking the Hush House or feels a resonance to go there as well. And Helena, this resonance is deep within you, like in the pit of your being. You can feel this pull to the Hush House.
Oh. If it's strong enough, she might just start walking.
It's not strong enough to just make you start heading that way, but it's strong enough that that it's starting to make you want to go that way.
Look to the other two and look toward the sound and look back and should we or should you
Well, I was already planning on going. Do you want to come with me?
yes please, if it wouldn't be an inconvenience.
It's never an inconvenience.
All right. Perhaps I should leave my book here so it doesn't get lost.
I can hold on to it for you if you would like.
Oh, thank you very much. She'll hand it over. Because she's got nowhere to put it.
Fair enough. So, those of you who are heading to the Hush House, with the assistance of the sailors, you are carrying large crates for those who have a lot more than a little bit of luggage.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course not. You all head across the cobblestone bridge that leads from the village proper to the hush house. The bridge itself is very well maintained, but still has the age, that sort of bleaching of the stones that such proximity to the ocean creates. And as you get closer to the hush house, just seems bigger and looms like an ancient castle over everyone. What's interesting is that while it is an old building, the architecture of it almost looks modern. It looks like it doesn't look like it was built using older methods. It doesn't look like it has suffered wear and tear. The outside looks like it was made very recently. There is a small little cottage that you all pass by. It looks like a groundskeeper's house. And past it, you all see that what the small window that was in it has the blinds closed as you all pass. And the large, grandiose doors within an archway begin to open. And everyone who looks up at the archway can see that written in English, but also in 6 other various languages, can see the words, "Books are the memory which never die." And those of you who can read French or Greek or even Sanskrit can all see the same phrase written. It's also even written in Arabic.
Oh. That's beautiful.
The entryway, as you all step inside, is lavish, almost looking like it's shining, like everything is a bright white and gold. Like the floors look polished to a mirror sheen. The walls are well kept. There are a few small bookcases which happen to have more like little art pieces as opposed to books already. And there is a large grandiose rug that is this vibrant scarlet color. And standing with his hands behind his back, smiling to you, is a gentleman, rather thin, with spectacles that seem to glint with a slight golden light. He smiles as he bows low to all of you before coming back up. Good evening. Mr. Kane, Miss Rain, Mr. Perler, Sister Rosalie, Miss McLeod.
Oh.
I've been expecting you.
What? How? She's very confused and very flustered.
Good evening. And he'll look to Helena. Was your ship headed here as well?
No, we were headed to, elsewhere. I was part of a ballet troupe. We're touring Europe.
Forgive me, you're the librarian, right?
Yes, I am, Mr. Perler.
Right, and your name one more time, sir.
The librarian will do. When one takes such an auspicious position, they leave their ties and names behind.
Frederick sort of cocks his head for a second and knits his eyebrows. And out of character question, Helena is the girl we took off the shipwreck, is that right?
Correct.
Helena, yes.
Helena, excuse me. Sorry, I'm I'm
It's
bad
okay.
with the names. I'm keeping the names in my head as best as I can.
It's
Anyways,
alright.
he knits his eyebrows and he looks back to Helena and to the mysterious librarian figure. And he remembers the sorts of people that he knows has visited Hush House. He says, right. I figure you must have heard that her ship has crashed then, is that right?
I'm so sorry to hear that, Miss McLeod. I knew to expect you, but I did not know under what circumstances.
Has anyone else turned up, perhaps?
Unfortunately, no, but if it is within my power, I will keep you apprised of if any of your fellows show up.
Yes, please. I'm very worried about them all. And I'm sure that they have noticed I'm gone anyway, I'm she'll just step behind the nearest tall person.
He just smiles softly and then looks to Sister Rosalie. Dear Sister Rosalie, I welcome you to the Hush House. I do hope that my message to the good rector has reached your ears, that I am deeply in need of someone to help me in keeping, well, the halls of the shrines and the greater religious area maintained. I think Vironz is dead.
Oh no.
Sorry. Hold on. ADHD. What?
He looks to Sister Rosalie and says, Sister Rosalie, welcome to the Hush House. I do hope that that my message to you through the good rector managed to get you easily. That I am in dire need of someone to assist me with maintaining the halls of the Church of the Unconquered Sun within the higher floors of the Hush House.
Yes, he had just told me of that right before you rang your bell.
Oh, just a clarification. I do not ring the bells. The Hush House knows when to call to its guests.
Just sort of an internal Frederick Perler thought. This guy is fucking crazy.
Do you want to show me where the halls would be that would be maintaining?
Yes, of course. Follow me. And he turns and Sister Rosalie begins to follow him. Everyone else is still looking at and speaking with the librarian who is standing before you. And he turns to Loretta. Miss Rain, an absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance and to have you within these halls.
Well, pleasure's all mine. It's very lovely to meet you. And she'll daintily reach out a hand.
And he will take it and just softly kiss the knuckles of it. So good to meet you as well. I do hope that you are able to find a little bit more of what you're looking for here.
You and I both. And I do come with the trade. Mr. Librarian.
So I see. I'll have those brought in. If you find any tomes that you wish to take back to your own library, such as it is, you may bring them up to me. The Hush House is not so static that it cannot let a few tomes go.
You are
I
quite the peach.
So I've been told. Would you like me to show you to your room?
That would be quite lovely. Thank you.
And fantastic. And he will actually pick up one of the crates himself. Not as effortlessly as the captain did, but not as much effort as you'd expect, given his stature.
Loretta takes notice of this.
And he begins walking off with you. Helena, Mr. Perler, and Roderick are all still at the entryway speaking to the librarian, not noticing the others leaving.
Nell's got her hands clasped in front of her, and she is looking at the floor as if it is the most fascinating thing in the whole wide world, and she's fiddling with a rather ornate engagement ring. Or one can only assume because that's the finger it's on.
Mr. Kane.
Yes.
I assume that you have come here seeking something specific, or was it more errant, abject curiosity?
Abject curiosity more than anything. I don't have any particular goal at the moment, though that doesn't mean I won't find one.
Of course. Well, if you have any need of assistance, you can feel free to come to me. The subterranean levels have been recently excavated, and I've found some very interesting older things that might be able to be up your alley, as it were.
I would appreciate that. If I could put my things in the room I'll be staying in first.
Of course. Please, this way. And he leaves with Roderick and Helena and Mr. Perler are left in the entryway, still speaking to the librarian. Mr. Perler, I've been told that you've come here hoping to find inspiration for your artistic works.
Freddie is still kind of taken aback by this maybe charlatan person. So in response, he nods, says, "Yep, I've been looking for a decent countryside to paint, and what I've heard is that the locals here at Brancrug have a habit of minding their own business, and I vastly prefer that to the way people behave in the States."
I couldn't agree more. My trips to the States were nice enough, but everyone seems so intent on digging in and putting their nose where it doesn't belong. Much nicer here, where everyone keeps to themselves unless necessary.
Necessary. Right.
Well, I have just the place for you. If you would follow me, I can show you to your room, and you are free to utilize any of the pigments and canvases we have here. I myself find myself painting a lot more these nights, though I tend to paint more abstracts, dreamscapes, and the like.
Wonderful, right. Freddie will follow the librarian, who probably retains his superposition at the foot of Hush House as well.
That is correct. And as at his superposition, there is now simply him and Helena. Are you quite all right, Miss McLeod?
Well, to be perfectly honest, a little out of sorts. How did you know that I would be coming? I didn't know myself.
The Hush House itself tells me. It is hard to explain aside from the dreams here are meant to guide me, to guide any who are welcomed here for more than just the occasional come, get a book, read it, and go.
I don't want to be an inconvenience. Is there, I don't suppose there's a way that I might get word home?
Absolutely. If you wish, I can send for the postmaster. They can take any letters that you wish to have sent home, and I will take care of the postage myself.
Oh, that would be very kind. I would like to write to my grandmother, let her know that I'm all right.
Of course. Might I show you to the room that I have prepared for you? We also have a rather large musical and dance hall, if you wish to keep up with your practice while you are here, while we are waiting for another boat to take you back to the States or to Europe, if you wish.
Oh, that would be lovely. I'm in a bit of an odd situation. I haven't any money or many things. I might possibly need to seek employment for at least for a short while, so that in order to obtain things, basic necessities.
I'm happy to take care of any of your needs for food, water, warmth. The Hush House is welcoming you freely here. But if you wish to have a little bit of a chance to make a little money as well, we have a number of gardens that I would very much like some assistance in taking care of. A few animals as well, bees. We make the honey for the mead here at the Sweet Bones.
Oh, I could help with that. I actually have a garden at my grandmother's that I tend. I make herbal medicines and teas.
I do much the same thing.
Oh.
And I would love to have your assistance here, if you would be willing to give it.
Yes, absolutely. Whatever I can do.
Of course. Please, follow me. And he will lead you to your room as well within the Hush House.
Alright.
You are led to a area actually higher in the Hush House. And as he opens up a door with a rather long coppery key, he opens it up and there is a rather large but somewhat Spartan room. There is a grand tapestry of what looks to be a bull with the sun behind it. And a couple small tables, one that has a tea kettle, as well as a few cups and a pitcher of water. And a simple but comfortable looking bed. I was informed to prepare the Solomon's quarters for you, Miss McLeod. I do hope that it will be to your liking.
Oh, yes. Very, very lovely. Why is it called the Solomon's quarters?
It was the quarters of an individual named Solomon Husher. He was one of the more well-known individuals within certain circles to stay at the Hush House for a time.
Oh. It's very lovely.
I am very glad to hear that you like it. If there's anything you need, you can find me. The Hush House will let me know that you need me.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, sir.
And he just bows and will walk out, leaving the door open for you to close as you see fit.
I shall leave it open for now.
You do feel a weight in a pocket of the clothes you were given, since you are still wearing the clothes that were given to you since you changed out of your soaked dresses.
Mm-hmm.
And inside there is a key. similar to the key that he used to open the door.
Odd. Be a little perplexed, but put it back in her pocket.
Fair enough.
Go peek out the nearest window.
The nearest window shows that there is a great amount of the sea stretching off to the horizon. And you can hear lightly the waves crashing against the shore. And you hear the same drum beat, but it's steady and comforting as opposed to encroaching.
Just take a few slow, deep breaths. Still kind of just anxiously twisting her ring around on her finger. Debating on taking it off, but she doesn't. Just looking out the window for now.
Fair enough. Sister Rosalie,
Yes.
you are walking along, climbing a great many staircases to get up to your particular area. There is a warmth and a light here that seems to go beyond the skin to get to the soul. As you climb, you see that there are a number of shrines here. There are shrines to the Brancrug, shrines to Saint Januarius. There are a number of shrines to various names and hours of the Church of the Unconquered Sun. It seems to be in decent shape, though there are a few places where it could use the assistance of someone with more direct knowledge of the rituals of the Church of the Unconquered Sun. The librarian looks back to you with a smile. As you can see, I have done the best that I can, but the good rector is only able to assist so much when he is also leading his flock.
Yeah, that is true.
Tell me, good sister, what, if any, of these names do you believe you associate with the most?
Can you say the names again?
Of course. There is the Madrugad, the shrine to Saint Tentretto, the shrine to Saint Januarius, and the shrine to the Watchman.
Probably the Watchman.
He who navigates illuminates, but is not as compassionate. Intriguing. He doesn't ever lose that smile on his face as he leads you along and opens up a door after leading you through a large, what almost looks like a cathedral built on top of a library with grand painted glass that even looks grander than what you have seen in some of the larger chapels that you've been in. Painted glass that gives homage to the sun in rags, to the sun unconquered. And he opens up the door to a quaint little room, nothing fancy. A comfortable singular bed. A writing desk as well that seems to have a number of inks laid out across it. Inks of various colors and what looks to be even consistencies. I figured that the solar cell would be a bit better for you, miss.
It does feel nice. Though I would take anything that you had. You really shouldn't go to any great deal.
It is absolutely no imposition upon me or the Hush House to welcome you here and make sure that you are comfortable. You are doing a great service for us by being here to assist in cleaning up the, well, glory of this place. As he looks up and around, just taking it all in and taking in the bright light that seems to come from this place, even though the sun has set. It is deeper into the evening, but this place seems to always be bright.
Okay. How do you keep it so warm in here, color-wise?
It is the way of him, of the glory, of the grand unconquered sun. His grace reaches out from above the mansus to this plane. We give homage and glory to him, and he returns it.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Purely. Well, I am sure that you have had a long trip. If you wish, I will be serving tea and a few small snacks in a short while. The kitchen is just down the stairwell.
All right. Thank you.
Of course, if you have any need of me, just let me know. The house will inform me.
Okay.
And he will bow again and leave. And you see that there is a key on the desk. Looks very long and coppery, a little bit oxidized from age. And we are going to move on to Loretta. Loretta, you are being brought along to a rather large and somewhat opulent room. One that just seems to scream beauty and luxury. There is a small statuette on a table nearby, along with two candles, one burning with an interestingly purple-colored wax. There is a set of bedside tables, one of which has a steaming hot cup of tea, the other of which has a small writing set with a bright golden ink. There's also a phonograph for any records you may wish to play. Mm-hmm. The bed itself is large and looks very soft, very comfortable. And he says, I believe that the Severn chamber is best for you, madam.
It's quite lovely. Thank you.
Of course. I do hope that your stay here is as good as you hope it is. That you are able to find what you are looking for, what you need.
Well, one can only hope. Again, thank you for your hospitality. I am sure that having so many individuals in your house at once must be. You seem to go out of your way.
It's no trouble at all. I've had to deal with a number of guests. Usually they come one at a time, but I would rather take a number of agreeable guests to some of the more disagreeable individuals I've had to host before.
And it's always the disagreeable ones that tend to stay the longest, isn't it?
Save for when they're trying to steal my books. Don't even pay, they just try to take them and leave.
Now, ain't that a shame?
Truly.
Trust me, I know a thing or two about people stealing what doesn't belong to them.
So I have heard, unfortunately. I am my deepest sympathies for what you have been put through.
Oh, well, it's no trouble at all. Well, what did they say? What goes around comes around?
Only too well.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, how did you end up the owner and facilitator of such a prominent and important piece of property like this?
The world had no more use for me, so I left behind. There was nothing for me to do out there, and the Hush House needed someone who understood. Someone that could connect to both what it needs and the needs of the people around it. It is good to be wanted again. I understand how having something taken from you can feel. I just envy that you had something taken from your enemies instead of those you hold dearest.
Yes, well, you don't go through all life without making a couple of enemies now, don't you? And that
Only too true.
And that must mean that I'm doing something rather important. Only born people make friends with everybody.
True enough. Well, I will be... Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I will be serving tea and snacks down within the dining hall. It will be just down the staircase. Easy enough to get to. Within a short while, feel free to relax and recuperate. I'm sure that the trip was long.
Far too long. Again. And she'll reach out a hand again. It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
He will take it and kiss it in the same manner that he did before. Likewise. And we are going to move to Mr. Roderick.
Alrighty.
The room he leads you to is very interesting. There is one color that stands out the most, and it is violet. Everything is some kind of shade of violet or purple or just generally that same sort of rich royal coloring. There is a large bed with a purple comforter and sheets, and even rich royal purple curtains around it. There is a table with a vanity that seems to have what looks to be a large decanter of a golden spirit, and a glass of it poured out freely, with a small burning candle beside it. There is also even a balcony that would lead out over the ocean, so that way one could go and take a look out upon the waves. It is very warm, but also it almost feels like this place has a little edge of danger to it. Almost like it was a pit of vipers.
And he will take that all in and feel both oddly comforted, but also cautious by the mixture of the colors and the atmosphere of the room.
I thought that the violet chamber would appeal more to you, good sir.
Rather comforting.
But not too comforting.
I am going to enjoy the view, he says as he looks towards the balcony.
I thought that might be one of great use to you.
Absolutely.
If you wish... Go right ahead, sorry.
When it comes to the books in the library, am I allowed to bring them back here, or is there a certain preference that you may have in how they're handled and where they're handled?
By all means, take them wherever you wish within the confines of the Hush House. I just ask that they do not leave the walls of the Hush House without permission.
And he'll nod.
I will be serving tea and snacks down in the dining room. It would be just down the staircase. But do take your time to relax here. And also the Strathcoin whiskey, and he just gestures to the golden spirit in the decanter, is free for you to enjoy as you see fit.
Or a very good host.
I try. There's far too much unpleasantness within this world. I find it's better to be pleasant until it's no longer necessary.
He's going to sort of furrow his brow a little bit at that wording. And he'll nod and move towards the bed to set his things down.
If you have any need of me, sir, please let me know. The Hush House will inform me that you have need.
I appreciate it.
And he will smile and bow and leave. And you'll notice that there's a key beside the glass of whiskey on the table now.
And he'll pick up the key, just give it a once over before putting it into his pocket.
And now we move to Mr. Perler.
Hello.
The room that you were brought into, interestingly enough, incredibly white. Everything is completely absent of color here. Save for a very small but very well-built wooden clock that ticks away quietly. I thought the pale chamber might be of, well, not exactly use, but more to your liking, sir.
Freddie looks around, and he looks down at his shoes and at his jacket, which are kind of a much darker color, right? Mm-hmm. And he remembers times he's had stains on him its body from paint or other liquids, and he looks at the walls and thinks this would not be a good place to get a stain somewhere. He looks back to the librarian and says, "Yeah, it's very nice. Was there a reason you have an all-white bedroom, or?"
It was just like this when I got here. This was a place where the original lords that watched over the Hush House slept. They have not changed the design of this place since the lords departed. 7 generations of them slept here in cold quiet.
Freddy furrows his brow again and gives another calculating look. He turns back. Are there any windows in this room?
There do not seem to be. This is more of an internal room.
Yeah, okay. The accommodations are lovely. Thank you.
And you. If you wish to paint the landscapes, you are free to utilize the towers as you see fit. We also have an observatory above the entryway, if you wish to perhaps do a little bit of stargazing for some of your portraits.
Freddy thinks about asking about the connection that his organization has to this place. But he bites his tongue. He says, "Right. Towers. Thank you." And he gets to setting himself up in this room and slides his rifle case under the bed and puts his briefcase on top of it.
I will be serving tea and snacks in a short while down in the dining room. I do hope that you will be there to join us in a little bit of relaxation after what I'm sure was a long trip, sir.
I'm sure I'd be overjoyed. He gives a little smirk and goes back to unpacking.
And when you turn back around, the librarian is no longer there, but you do see that there is a key beside your briefcase, which was not there before.
I think Freddy's going to pick up the key and examine it. And stew on that.
Who all is going to go down and enjoy some tea and snacks?
Me, I love free food.
At least you're honest. Free.
Free food does sound nice after a trip on a boat.
Yeah. I'll go down.
Yeah, if Helena hears and or sees other people going down, she will, especially if she smells anything tasty.
I will be joining as well.
Excellent. You all head down to the dining room where everything was, where you all been told to gather for the snacks and drinks. There are several kettles of teas and even coffees that are available to you. There even seems to be a large kettle of what smells like hot chocolate.
Oh.
There are a number of different types of snacks. There are fruits and fresh vegetables with what look to be very simplistic dips. There is small tarts with what looks to be fresh, glistening honey on them. And small egg and cheese sandwiches as well. And the librarian stands at the head of the table, arms behind his back, smiling as you all enter around the same time. All settled in?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, Miss Loretta. And he will move to Loretta and produce from his coat a key and offer it to her. It seems that I was remiss in giving you your key. I do deeply apologize for that.
I'll look at it and kind of cock an eyebrow, and then just gonna look up. And these are the keys to our rooms, I presume?
Yes.
Wonderful. She'll take hers. And I put away my, and she puts I put away my mental, lock-picking kit.
Fantastic. Please, everyone, enjoy as you see fit. If you have need of anything else or wish for something else, I would be happy to oblige and assist you. Or if you have any questions, again, happy to assist.
Do you normally host so many guests here?
At one time, no, this is actually quite an oddity, but a pleasant one. It's nice to be able to meet so many new people.
Right. Wonderful, I'm sure.
Helena's going to wait until everyone else has taken what they need before she has anything.
Sister Rosalie will also do the same.
Roderick will go and make himself a small plate.
I think Freddy's going to take a little tea sandwich kind of thing, and he looks at it like it's poisoned, like he knows for a fact that it's poisoned, and he still takes a bite of it.
It tastes quite good, quite simple, but hearty. And fresh. It seems that the ingredients were not far from the market. I do hope everything is to your liking, Mr. Perler. We'd like to be self-sufficient here within the Hush House. We make
Right.
most everything ourselves. And those we can't, we quickly send out shipments for.
On that topic, what's the price for our accommodations here? I can't imagine I'm getting a penthouse suite like this for free.
The price will make itself known when appropriate.
Oh.
But you don't have to worry about anything in terms of money. The Hush House is well kept for by various donors and associates.
Right.
Though, of course, if you have need for any translations of texts, I'd be happy to assist you should you have access to the tally.
The what?
That one kind of takes Frederick off guard, because what he thinks the tally is not something he was ever paid with, but something he was sort of aware of with the Reckoners. And he says, I'm sorry, the tally?
Yes, I suppose only a few of you might really have access to tally. Worry not. I can find other ways for payment should you not have any access to such coinage.
He's gonna look around at the other guests and see like how how mysterious and weird this seems to the rest of them. Like, are the other guests comfortable with the mysterious magician man, or does this seem weird to them, written across their face?
Do we notice anything off?
That depends on your other associates of Sister Rosalie, Loretta, and Roderick.
Roderick is focusing on his sandwich and tea
Fair.
in a way that is probably
Nice,
clear that his attention is there intentionally.
Okay, how does Loretta feel?
Oh, Loretta's showing no expression on her face.
Okay, and Helena?
Doing her best not to eavesdrop and just
And the
staying as
sister
out of the way as
Rosalie?
possible.
I do have a question. Does Sister Rosalie know of the tally?
She would. It's not a topic brought up very often, but there are occasional instances where the church has to do dealings with other associations and other religious institutions that might have not opposing but parallel practices that utilize the tally as payment. It being a very old and intriguing and intricate kind of coinage that focuses more on connections to feelings than it does to, well, figures put on paper because they were important in the history of a certain place.
Okay, so I guess sort of a meta question for the DM here. Would Frederick know... I'm assuming that Frederick is more familiar, given his history, with the Cindered Tally, as in, years, as opposed to Spintria. Do you have any... I mean, he's assuming this is a Cindered Tally situation.
I think that would be apt, though. There have been times where Frederick has likely at least heard information about the Spintria. Though with the way that he goes speaking about it, it's possible that the librarian means Spintria as opposed to the Cinder Tally.
Okay, I see. I definitely, the phrase coinage is like, Parlor probably doesn't think of Cinder Tally as being coinage.
Yeah.
As to get on to the original point of asking how Sister Rosalie is acting, she's not overly surprised, but interested, though, definitely.
So you don't host very many guests at once. Do you get a lot of guests in general? I mean, it's all the way out here in Brancrug. I mean, I can't tell you that the locals seem like he kind of cuts himself off before implying that the British are illiterate.
I host a few guests each few seasons. Sometimes I'll host 2 or 3 at the absolute most, but that is entirely dependent on when the Labyrinth season makes itself known. Its touch is much greater here within Brancrug.
Right. The Labyrinth season. Freddy he sort of sits down at the table with his little sandwich, and he pats his jacket, wondering where his cigarettes are. And otherwise, he just disconnects from mentally disconnects from whatever this lunatic is saying.
As he finds his cigarettes, He would then hear a metallic click, and a lighter is right beside him as the librarian is offering him a light for his cigarettes. No one else saw him move.
Still focusing intently on my sandwich.
Man, the sandwich is the best ever.
This is very good. It's a nice distraction.
All right. Frederick, kind of taken aback by the sudden invasion of personal space, lights the cigarette and takes a drag off of it and offers the librarian one.
He takes the cigarette and lights one for himself and takes a very long drag that goes to half of the length of the cigarette itself before he moves away and expels the smoke out of a window.
Oh, polite.
Thank you, Mr. Perler.
Sorry, over the table question. Did you just imply that this guy smoked half of his cigarette in one drag?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Dang.
Again, Loretta takes notice.
Impressive.
That can't be good for his long-term lung health.
I
think we're all just kind of watching him like, what?
Yeah, I think it's awkward silence, or it's probably waiting for the librarian to reveal something.
Other his lung capacity test score.
And Roderick will finally look up and clear his throat and say, outside of the Hush House, Mr. Librarian, are there any locations on the island that you would recommend any of us visit for whatever reason you might see suitable?
The forests and the moors are actually very peaceful, very calm and quiet. I would, if you ever wish to just get away, get a little bit of fresh air, I would highly recommend them. Though I would not stay out too late. Sometimes the things there can be quite curious. Fatally so.
I'm sorry. Has anybody ever mentioned that sometimes you come across as vaguely threatening?
A few times, actually. Not that I intend to.
I'd have
Just
actually
wish to be serious.
I think you would have got an actual
Hey,
half giggle out of no before she covered her mouth.
I appreciate the warning. It's just the way it's delivered is almost foreboding, as if you are expecting it to be inevitable, perhaps, that we run into one of these things. What kind of thing? And he's going to drink his tea because he's just kind of, a little bit flustered.
Yeah, I mean,
Perhaps
what
wild animals?
kind of thing?
Yeah.
The children of the Mother of Ants are varied and legion. Grand moths, serpents. They find themselves within the moors more and more these days. Miss Helena, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Does anyone need anything? I can get it.
You are quite the timid little thing, aren't you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It's endearing. Kind of.
Really?
Could I roll on night arts to understand what he just referenced at all?
Absolutely. And anyone who has night arts, can do so.
Not me.
It's either night arts or he's a fan of Tolkien.
This can be true.
Or Kano Lost Oath.
That'll be a 58 out of 75, so success.
Excellent.
Excuse me? What do you mean bad Oh, that's because I rolled the wrong dice bot.
I was like, the bot's being sassy.
The bot is being sassy with me today. $11. That I believe my night arts is 80.
That is a critical success. All right. Starting off with Roderick. You've heard many mentions of various beings associated with a figure known as the Mother of Ants. Usually they are insectile or almost like beings of pure chaos. The most key and repeated imagery is that of moths.
I'm sorry, are you referring, just over the table question again, are you referring to the Mother of Ants?
I am, but I've also forgotten a lot about the Mother of Ants since I've looked at other hours.
Is this a good time for me to make an actually statement, or is this a bad time for that?
By all means.
Please, I was going to say, please refrain from doing stuff like that until after we're on the stream.
Yeah, let's
okay, fair enough.
I will fix it in post.
You mean I'll fix it in post?
Yeah, you know.
And Roderick will definitely... it is very clear by his expression that he's taking what the librarian said seriously.
Loretta. With the critical success, you know that a lot of mortals associate insects with the Mother of Ants, even though she's more associated actually with coils. The beings that create greater moths are, well, the being is simply known as the moth.
Mm-hmm.
The hour of midnight. The first of the gods who were blood. It is said that the moth watches over the woods of the Mansus, and its spawn are there. To hear that its spawn could be within the woods outside of the Hush House and within the moors is troubling.
You must get a big deal of people who might be afraid to travel the woods at night.
We've put out a number of curfews over the years. There have been a few instances where various individuals came and met unfortunate ends or met some amount of danger. But it has gotten far, far worse.
I'd say, with all of the creatures. That midnight brings. one should be scared.
Hmm.
And she's deadpan the entire time that she's talking. They say that those who are interested in seeing what might not be fully there to the naked eye open themselves closer to midnight. But you have my word. I have no intent of meeting a fatal death to moths.
Good. If you wish for something a little different, you can, of course, always go to the beach. Things wash up there, and swimming can be lovely.
Regular things that wash up, I mean.
All manner.
Oh, good. Wonderful. I was worried there weren't going to be unearthly abominations on the beach.
Oh, no, you shouldn't have to worry too much about that.
Yeah, Cthulhu only comes to the beach on Wednesdays.
Do I understand anything that they're talking about?
Give me a roll of bright arts or night arts if you have it.
I have bright arts. A little
Let's
bit.
go with
little
that then.
Just
A little
wee-
bit.
Just a wee bit.
Do you mind if I roll bright arts as well?
By all means.
Oh no. I got I got 45 and that's 25 more than I've got my score. Oh,
Oh wait, hold on. No,
one
no.
of one.
Yeah, 1 of 1, and I hold on.
I got excited for a second there.
65 of 80.
That would do it. Miss Helena, would you like to utilize any of the dice from the tarot?
No, that's okay.
Very well. Helena, you got no idea what they're talking about. It sounds like a whole bunch of weirdness, or maybe they're just like vaguely threatening each other. It's a little tense. However, Sister Rosalie, you know of vile entities associated with some of the other hours that others would pay homage to. The beings of the moth or other such weird entities, including possibly even the 7 coils, which is more associated with snakes. Despite the fact that it was killed by the mother of ants and the colonel. If there are more dangers here, more active dangers, then something is amiss. And very likely that something is originating from the Hush House, given all the power at play here.
All right.
I feel as though I have wandered into a conversation that was not meant for me.
Every conversation that I think will happen here is generally meant for all here, all present at this time. Even if we don't know it yet.
You're
What?
No, you go. You go.
She was just going to ask if everyone was all right.
Oh, everyone's just fine. They were just discussing somewhat theological differences.
Ah. All right. Does everyone know one another then?
A number of us walk in similar circles, I believe, Miss McLeod.
Oh, Helena is fine. Thank you. I'm sorry. Unless you would prefer otherwise.
Helena, it will be.
Thank you. But she's looking around at everyone like, just, do they know each other?
And Roderick will shake his head and at most on the on the voyage here.
Freddie probably glances over to the librarian and shrugs. Like, I don't know.
What?
Go ahead.
Well, I do hope that I did not fuel the mood. I just wish to ensure that you all are safe. Things seem to be getting more interesting within Brancrug.
I appreciate you looking out for us.
Yes.
I think I would be a bad host if I didn't.
Thank you. You're quite the fine host.
Why, thank you, Miss Helena.
You're welcome. Oh, I have a letter. It might be a little bit late to post it now, but I thought I would bring it down.
I will see that it gets posted first thing in the morning.
Thank you, that is very kind. And
Of course.
she will pull it out of her pocket and bring it over.
And he will take it and put it within his own jacket. And then smile and give a small, comforting nod to Helena.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
And she'll finally go fix herself a little something.
Is Helena a tea, coffee, or hot chocolate kind of gal?
Oh. It's a toss-up between the tea and the hot cocoa. Probably tea.
Fair enough.
She likes herbal teas. With honey.
The honey is important.
Yeah.
And it's local.
Yeah. And much better than putting sugar in it. In her opinion.
Fair. The librarian looks around and just says, well, if there is nothing that you have need of me for, I will, I believe, retire for the evening. I have a book calling for me. And he just smiles and bows. However, if there are any other questions, again, just please feel free to come and get me. I will be within the quarters above the walkway to the westernmost part of the house.
Is there
Indeed.
any?
Rest well.
Thank you. Helena?
Just to be safe, is there anywhere that we are not to go?
There is a southern, almost subterranean part of the westernmost side of the house that may call to your curiosity. Ignore it,
Yes, sir.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your accommodations.
And warnings.
Mostly accommodations. And she'll smirk.
Both are very important, I think.
Yes.
If you have any need for more food or drink, the larder is open to you, and I've been working to keep it stocked.
Thank you.
The library parts of the Hush House are a few floors up and closer to the way into the Hush House. Please avail yourselves to them if you see fit.
Do you have any books explaining what a mother of ants is?
I believe that would be found more in the third floor library. A lot more associated with that particular aspect, particular hour.
Right. And the third floor is open to me?
Of course.
Wonderful.
And with that, I will bid you all a good evening, and he will just bow and begin to make his way out, closing the door behind him. Leaving you all to enjoy the snacks and drinks and discuss amongst yourselves if you see fit.
Helena's just trying to make herself useful.
But once he's gone and everything, Roderick will look around after taking a sip of his tea and say, I'm going to upgrade that vaguely threatening to mildly threatening.
I don't suppose any of you know what the tally is then, or for that matter, have it?
No.
What role would it be to see if Roderick would know about it? If any role?
Intelligence in general could do it, especially if you have access to night or bright arts.
Okay.
And if you have access to night or bright arts, I'll give you an advantage for each. If you have like 1, you'll get a plus 10. If you have 2, you'll get a plus 20 to your intelligence.
Sure, why not? Just for the heck of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Roderick will shake his head. He has no idea.
I'll do it.
I'm
no.
just not doing great tonight.
The dice can be fickle.
Hey, twin.
I got.
Hey.
Hey. So, Helena, you've just been trying to soak in everything. It's just like, theological differences when speaking of mildly threatening things. And you're just like, oh no.
Threatening? He's been nothing but nice.
Exactly. Roderick, you're probably a little focused on the various things he said that are mildly threatening as opposed to the talk about payment.
Yeah.
Loretta, on the other hand, the tally is something that you've had unique experiences with, personal experiences. Now, you've spent a lot of regular money to make sure that you get access to certain books, but certain services and certain tomes would only be paid for with the tally, being Spintria, being an ancient kind of currency that is utilized within circles much akin to the ones that you walk in now, since you've realized and discovered more about this world.
So, the tally is a form of currency that many regular people don't even think of anymore. In the world of the occult, many people use the tally to buy tomes that will give you access to knowledge that is greater than anything you could ever think of.
That sounds like something my grandmother would know.
Frederick looks Loretta in the eyes and says, "The world of the occult? magicians.
Hmm.
You're saying you're a magician.
I'm not saying that I'm a magician. I'm saying that I have a better understanding. I'm a librarian. We get paid to know things.
Right. Show of hands, who is aware of this world of the occult thing?
Half raises a hand.
And Roderick will like raise his hand and be like, I'm an archaeologist. I study occult stuff is kind of intrinsic to most ancient cultures.
My,
Some people call it religious.
Roderick, kind of Helena, kind of Loretta, yes or no?
I dabble.
And one more time, Sister Rosalie.
Yes, I do know of the occult. I am part of the church and part of another church.
my grandmother runs an occult shop in Salem.
Needless to say, the tally is very, very valuable to collectors of tomes. Ancient. It's almost like a liquid gold, or small bits of gold in the trading sector.
Right. Treasure. Services rendered and all that.
I've seen a couple tallies before.
Uh-huh. And what do they look like?
Facilitator, what do they look like?
Generally
Loretta
just
would
like
know.
coins of various types of metals, usually with the different symbols on them.
Well, I mean, they look like little coins. Depending on what kind of tally you're working with, it will have a different symbol.
What Loretta would know with her really good roll is there's generally 4 levels of spintria that are more common.
Mm-hmm.
There's iron spintria, which often is emblazoned with a hand holding a knife, preparing to assassinate someone.
Cool.
The bronze spintria, which shows a hammer and anvil, representing forging and creation. The silver spintria, showing intimate relations with people, between people. And the simple gold spintria, which has no symbol but gives off a grander, brighter light than any other coin shine to the same sheen.
Yeah, what he said.
We'll be blushing at the last one. Well, second to last one.
She would go into detail about like with the different like coins and what they look like, the various symbols on them.
So, sorry, remind me, Freddie has or has not ever been paid in spintria for his work?
Probably once or twice, but the spintria was likely not for him, but for him to like carry back to his boss while he got paid in gobs and gobs of cash.
Right, yeah, no, I figured.
Gobs of cash, sure. We're good.
And those can be used for goods and services.
And so the rest of you are really just here to patronize the library then?
Yeah.
Except you, Helena, of course.
As I said in the bar, that was my main focus in coming here.
Very nice. Wonderful. It's really all kind of sinking in for him.
This is one of the grandest libraries in the world. Could probably pick up a book on painting techniques.
Painting.
I'm sure there's a lot of things I could read a book about here.
If you know where to look.
Oh, you paint, Mr. Palliser?
I dabble, yes.
Oh,
I could be better. I could be worse. But I paint.
that's lovely.
Do you do anything for your arts, your creativity?
Oh, I'm a dancer. I I like, well, I can also sew and crochet, but I was with a troupe in New York. We were going to be touring A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That was before the wreck, I assume.
Yes. Obviously now. Well, I hope to hear soon of others. But other than that, I can make. I garden. I can make teas and medicines. My grandmother taught me. I used to help her run her shop.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
You are all good, dear. Don't worry.
Thank you. What does everyone else do? If it's polite to ask.
And Roderick, trying to be polite, will wait to see who's actually talking first.
Perhaps it was impertinent.
You were going to speak up?
Oh, by all means, ladies first.
I used to run a library.
Oh?
Yes. Was a family library. People would come in, pay patron. They'd have access to books upon books upon books of, well, anything and everything, really.
That sounds wonderful.
It was.
Oh.
And she lingers on that word, was, and a kind of like nasty smile comes on her face, one that is quite obviously holding back just a little bit of anger.
Oh. I believe, well, we haven't necessarily met, but I believe we've sort of met in passing briefly a time or two.
You do look familiar.
Did you ever attend the theater or the ballet?
When I was seeing an ex-boyfriend of mine, yes, we would go to the theater every Friday.
Oh. You can tell that she's curious, but she's trying very hard not to ask.
It's okay, darling. You can ask questions.
Would I? Well, I probably would not know who. But never mind. Anyone else?
I'm an archaeologist. I study the written history of what cultures have left behind. Rather than going to dig sites, or participating in dig sites anyway, I try to decipher script. Greece is my primary specialty.
Oh, that's quite fascinating.
I like to think so.
Hmm.
And he'll smile as he says it.
You'll blush. Well, it seems like everyone is rather well read and well rounded. Should kind of sort of look at Mr. Furler again because he hasn't quite answered.
Oh, for fun? I mean,
Well, no, but that also.
professionally, you mean?
Oh, yes, unless it's not polite to ask.
I just live off my veteran's pension. I really don't do a hell of a lot else here. That's why I'm coming to Brancrug to paint and to get involved in this, apparently.
Huh.
Oh, and I kill people for sport, that too.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
No, he said it in an obviously sarcastic way and gives a wink.
Oh. Hand to the chest, like, what?
and
Loretta again shows no expression.
and Roderick will look to Sister Rosalie. Sister, how about you?
Why I'm here?
Yeah. I know you mentioned some of what you do, but if you'd like to elaborate.
Well, I'm here because they need help dealing with the church here. And sometimes I also provide medical services. When I was in London, I used to help deliver babies.
Oh. That's wonderful.
But it seems for now that I'm going to be helping take care of the halls of the Unconquered Sun.
It's quite the name for a church.
It is. But it's one I hold dear.
How well known, out of character, how well known is the Unconquered Sun? Would that name be interesting, or is it something that would be kind of commonly heard?
It would be a bright arts check
I'll try that.
with a level of advantage.
Nope.
Everything just seems to be going right over Roderick's head at the moment, unfortunately.
Would
Yeah,
we all be
no.
able to roll for this?
Anyone who wishes to.
Sure.
Sure.
And he'll just say, I'm not familiar with the Church of the Unconquered Sun.
Ooh, nobody knows, baby.
I keep rolling
Unless
in the
someone would like-
90s.
Unless someone would like to use one of the tarot.
Hold on. We haven't used it, so I mean, you know.
It's true.
Let me take a look at my bright art score really fast.
Like 20.
No, it's not worth it for me. My bright arts is only 55.
And mine's only 20, so.
Same. Mine is at 20.
I
Helena
mean,
knows nothing.
it's not bad if you use one of the D4s.
True.
Oh, right. Yeah. I would like to roll one of the D4s, and I'll take it from. Let me look up these again. Where are they? The references? No.
I have pinned them both, so it's in the general chat.
God, this is where my lack of knowledge of the actual games comes and bites me in the ass. I'm gonna use a D4 from the Crown Growth because there are hints of religious symbology, or symbolism, within the tarot card, and we are having a talk about religion.
It's true enough. Very true. Go right ahead.
All right, and I'm gonna use it to replace that 8 of mine.
Fair enough.
That turns my 83 to a 23.
In that case, you would know about the Church of the Unconquered Sun, about how it gives a lot of power to what is known as the Mantis as the glory, usually beings of like light and higher powers.
That is rather interesting, sister. Now, how long have you been affiliated with them?
I feel a few years now.
Since before or after you became a nun?
After. I took my vows early on.
Huh. Is that most nuns, or is that just you?
It's just me.
Right.
I've thought of taking them before.
Well, everyone has a different story when it comes to their faith.
Not certain that I have enough.
You always have enough. And it can always grow if you let it.
That is true. That is very true. Kind of fidget and see if anybody needs a refill on coffee or tea or anything.
For those of you who are better at this, the tally and the Church of the Unconquered Sun and for those of you who are in the know, he corrects himself. Do any of you have any interest in helping me find some material to catch up on?
Depends on what you're looking to know.
Probably more about the tally and this Mother of Ants figure.
I can see what I can pull up.
I'm sure
Thank
the
you.
library will be willing to help you.
Oh, the librarian.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Library.
From the way that the librarian was talking, it's not him. It's the physical library.
Yes, the library would be willing to help you.
Perler probably like returns sort of another blank, astonished stare.
I feel like I've stepped into a bit of a fairy story.
Roderick's going to get himself another sandwich.
Come to mention, Loretta the entire time hasn't touched any food or tea or coffee, nothing. The entire time the only thing that she's had in front of her is what looks to be a journal and a really fancy fountain pen.
Miss Loretta, did you need something to eat or drink? I would happily fetch it for you.
No, it's all right. I'm not hungry right now. Thank you though.
No, you're very welcome. Are you from New York as well?
No, ma'am. New Orleans.
Ah. But you were possibly in? Never mind. I'm sorry, I'm trying.
No, it's all right. I did travel to New York quite a bit. Would go back and forth between there and home for school.
Ah. I don't suppose you ever stopped in Massachusetts?
Been there once, twice.
I think you'd like to visit my grandmother's shop. She has lots of books. Glen Allen books.
I will be sure to take note. And if I find myself in Massachusetts anytime soon, I'll stop in. Say that I met the owner's granddaughter.
Oh, her name, my grandmother's name is Maggie.
Maggie.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I don't mean to be rude to the four of you, but I think it's time that I retire for the evening.
Oh.
You're not being rude at all. I was just about to say the same thing.
Me personally, I've never slept in a haunted library before, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Haunted?
It's not haunted.
No, there's
It's
a
just helpful.
mysterious librarian and magicians and... Never mind.
I wouldn't call us magicians, Mr. Freddie, you said your name was?
Uh-huh.
There's more to it than polytrip. Not that I have the capabilities, but I wouldn't be so quick to call it magician work.
If it helps, instead of thinking it is haunted, you could think of it as awake. And I say that with far more levity than I feel right now.
And as you say that, you hear the house creak and settle. And then you hear the rattling of chains
Oh my god, it's a pearl.
coming from further into the house. And as
It
you all
seems-
retire for the evening with those sounds in your ears, we are going to end there for the evening.